The grocery store parking lot was half empty when the 12 motorcycles rolled in. Chrome gleamed under the harsh fluorescent lights, engines rumbling like distant thunder. It was 9:47 p.m. on a Tuesday in March 2024, and the Midnight Riders were just stopping for supplies before heading home from a charity run in the next county. Marcus Reaper Johnson killed his engine first. His crew followed. They'd just delivered $45 worth of winter coats to a homeless shelter, and the spring chill still bit through their leather. Good work, clean consciences. The kind of tired that came from doing something right. Inside the store, a black woman in her early 30s pushed a cart with a squeaky wheel through the produce section. Her name was Simone Harris, and she was calculating in her head. $12 left until payday. Bread, milk, something for her daughter's lunch. Maybe pasta if the generic brand was on sale. She reached for a bag of apples, the cheap ones with bruises, and that's when her left knee gave out. Not dramatically. Just a hitch, a stumble, a quick grab for the cart to keep from falling. Her face contorted briefly with pain before she schooled it back to neutral. She'd gotten good at hiding it, the limp, the constant ache from the accident 2 years ago, the one that had left her with a torn menace and no insurance to fix it properly. Marcus saw it happen through the store window. He was leaning against his bike, waiting for Leon and Big Jake to grab water and snacks. But his attention caught on the woman's struggle, the way she gripped the cart too tightly, the slight drag in her left leg as she continued shopping. "You see that?" Leon asked, walking up with an armload of energy drinks. "Yeah," Marcus said quietly. "I saw it." They watched as Simone made her way to the checkout. A little girl, maybe 7 or 8, stood beside her. Braids tied with purple ribbons, a backpack shaped like a unicorn. The girl chattered excitedly about something, but Simone's attention was on the register display, watching the numbers climb with visible anxiety. The total came to $43.67. Simone's card declined. Through the window, Marcus saw her shoulders tense, saw her say something to the cashier, try the card again, declined again. The little girl's smile faded, confusion replacing it. Simone started removing items from the bags. The apples first, then the small package of chicken, then the box of crayons the girl had asked for. With each item removed, something in Marcus's chest tightened. "Stay here," he told his crew. Marcus walked into the store with purpose, not threatening, just direct. He'd learned early in life that the biggest injustices happened in small moments like this. His own mother had stood at countless registers, making impossible choices between feeding her kids and paying rent. He reached the checkout just as Simone tried her card a third time. "Excuse me," Marcus said. His voice was calm, respectful. The cashier, a teenager with green hair and tired eyes, looked up warily. Simone turned, her hand instinctively moving to shield her daughter. "I got this," Marcus said simply. He pulled out his wallet. "No," Simone said quickly. "No, thank you. We're fine. I just need to—" "Ma'am, I insist." Marcus handed his card to the cashier. "Ring it all up, including what she took out." "Sir, I can't accept—" "It's not charity," Marcus interrupted gently. "It's just one person helping another. No strings, no expectations. Just let me do this." Simone stared at him. Behind the exhaustion and pride, he saw something else. Tears gathering, carefully controlled. Her daughter tugged her sleeve. "Mommy, is the scary man helping us?" Marcus laughed softly. "I'm not scary, little one. Just big, big difference." "Are you a superhero?" the girl asked, eyes wide. "Nah, just a guy on a motorcycle who's had some good luck and wants to share it." The transaction went through. $57.83 with everything added back, including the crayons. Marcus didn't mention the extra items he'd told the cashier to add, toiletries and bandages and a heating pad he'd noticed behind the counter. Simone loaded her bags with trembling hands. "I don't know what to say." "Don't say anything," Marcus replied. He pulled out a business card, plain white with just a phone number. "But if you ever need help, real help, you call that number, okay?" She took the card like it might disappear. "Why?" "Because someone helped my mom once when I was about your daughter's age, and she told me to pass it on when I could." He knelt down to the little girl's level. "You take care of your mom, okay? She's doing a good job." The girl nodded seriously. "She's the best mom ever." "I believe it." Marcus stood and walked out. Through the window, he watched Simone press the card to her chest, then carefully tuck it into her wallet. She said something to her daughter, who waved enthusiastically toward the window. Outside, his crew was waiting. "Boss, what was that about?" "Just paying it forward," Marcus said, but his mind was already working. Something about Simone's situation felt off. The terror in her eyes when she'd first turned around, the way she'd positioned herself between him and her daughter, the faded bruise on her neck barely visible above her collar. He'd seen those signs before. If you believe in stories of real people making real differences, hit that like button and subscribe to Black Iron Tales. We're here every week with stories that matter. Over the next 3 days, Marcus couldn't shake the image of Simone's face, that mix of gratitude and fear. On Thursday, he drove past the grocery store again. His excuse was weak. He needed to pick up motor oil, but really he was hoping to see her, to confirm his instincts were wrong. She was there. Same time, 9:47 p.m., same squeaky cart, but this time, a man was with her. Marcus parked his bike in the shadows of the lot and watched. The man was tall, athletic build, wearing a polo shirt and khakis. He looked normal, respectable even. But the way he gripped Simone's elbow as they walked, the way she kept her eyes down, the way the little girl stayed very quiet beside them. Marcus knew that dynamic. Control disguised as concern. Inside the store, Marcus pretended to shop while observing. The man, he'd later learn his name was Derek Peterson, picked out expensive items, steaks, premium ice cream, craft beer. When Simone reached for the generic pasta, Derek's hand shot out, stopping her. His mouth moved, words Marcus couldn't hear but could read in Simone's flinch. Derek put the expensive pasta in the cart instead. A show of generosity that felt more like punishment. At the checkout, Derek paid with a black credit card, made a show of it, loud enough for others to hear. "Only the best for my girls, right?" But when they walked out, Marcus saw Derek's hand tighten on Simone's arm, saw the little girl walk with her shoulders hunched. Marcus followed them, not close, not threatening, just tracking. They drove to an apartment complex on the south side. Decent neighborhood, well-maintained buildings. Simone's car, an old Honda with a mismatched door, pulled into space 217. Derek's BMW was already parked in the neighboring spot. He doesn't live with them officially, Marcus thought, but he controls them anyway. Marcus sat on his bike for 10 minutes, thinking. Then he called Leon. "Need you to run a plate for me." "Boss, you know that's legal if we're concerned about someone's safety. Just do it." The information came back in an hour. Derek Peterson, 34, worked in finance, no criminal record. But Leon had dug deeper, found something else. 3 different women in 3 different cities had filed restraining orders against Derek over the past 6 years. All black women, all single mothers, all orders mysteriously dropped within months. "He's got money," Leon said over the phone, "the kind that makes problems disappear. And boss, one of those women. She's in a hospital in Atlanta. Fell down the stairs, supposedly. Fractured skull, broken ribs." Marcus's blood went cold. When? 6 months ago. This was worse than he'd thought. The next morning, Marcus did something he rarely did. He called in a favor from his old life, before the Midnight Riders went legitimate. A name from his past, Detective Sharon Mills, someone who'd given him a second chance when he could have been locked up for good. "Sharon, it's Reaper." "Marcus," her voice was warm but cautious. "It's been what, 3 years?" "About that. Listen, I need information on someone, off the books. Marcus, just hear me out." He told her everything, about Simone, about Derek, about the restraining orders and the woman in Atlanta. When he finished, Sharon was quiet for a long moment. "You're asking me to investigate someone without probable cause. I'm asking you to check on a woman who might be in danger." "That's what you do, Sharon. You help people." Another pause. Then, "Give me 2 days. And Marcus, stay away from this guy. If he's what you think he is, he's dangerous in ways you can't fight with your fists." "I know. That's why I'm calling you." Those 2 days felt like 2 weeks. Marcus drove past Simone's apartment building twice. Everything looked normal, quiet, but normal didn't mean safe. On Saturday morning, Sharon called back. "You were right. Derek Peterson is bad news. I can't prove anything yet, but I found a pattern. He targets single mothers, moves in slowly, takes financial control. isolates them from support systems. When they try to leave, things get ugly. The woman in Atlanta? She's terrified to testify. Won't say his name. But the injuries match blunt force trauma, not a fall. And Marcus, there's more. I found sealed juvenile records from when Derek was 16. Assault against his mother. The case was buried because his father was a judge. What can we do? Legally, not much yet. I need evidence of current abuse, or I need Simone to file a report. But if she's as scared as you think, she won't. These guys are good at making their victims feel trapped. Marcus thought about his mother, about all the times she'd wanted to leave his father but couldn't, about how it had taken their entire community rallying around her to finally break free. What if we gave her a way out, he said slowly. What if we showed her she's not alone? What are you thinking? I'm thinking it takes a village, and I've got 11 more riders who believe the same thing. The plan came together over the next week. Nothing illegal, nothing confrontational, just a community showing up. First, Marcus contacted the apartment manager, made a generous donation to the building's emergency fund, enough to cover 3 months' rent for any tenant in need. Anonymous, untraceable. Second, Leon used his connections at the hospital to find out about free clinics that offered knee surgery on a sliding scale. He left a stack of brochures at the apartment building's mailroom with a sticky note. For anyone who needs help, no judgment, just care. Third, Big Jake, who ran a food bank on weekends, started making deliveries to the building. Extra supplies, he'd say, just making rounds. He made sure to knock on apartment 217 every time. Fourth, Marcus's crew began a routine. Every evening at 9:30 p.m., 2 riders would park across from the building, just sitting, visible, keeping watch. They never approached, never threatened, just presence. Simone noticed. On the 5th night, she came outside, walked slowly to where Marcus sat on his bike, her limp pronounced in the dim light. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. No preamble, just exhaustion and confusion. "Doing what? Don't play dumb. The food deliveries, the clinic information, the rent assistance, you being here every night? Why?" Marcus removed his sunglasses. "Because I've seen this before. Because I know what it looks like when someone's trapped and doesn't know how to get out." Simone's eyes filled with tears. "You don't understand." "So help me understand." She looked back at her apartment building. "Derek, he's not my boyfriend. He's not my daughter's father, but he pays most of our bills. After my accident, after I lost my job and couldn't work for 6 months, he was there. He helped. And now I owe him. You don't owe anybody your safety. It's not that simple. He's never hit me. He just controls things. Where I go, who I talk to. He says it's because he cares, because he's protecting us. But I can't breathe. And my daughter, she's starting to walk on eggshells around him. She's 7 years old and already learning to be afraid." Marcus's jaw tightened. "There's a detective I know, Sharon Mills. She's good people, and she's been looking into Derek's history. He's done this before, Simone, and it gets worse." "I know." Simone's voice cracked. "I looked him up after you helped me that night, found the restraining orders, found articles about the woman in Atlanta. I know I need to leave. But he's got money, connections. He threatened to call Child Protective Services if I tried to cut him off, said he'd tell them I'm an unfit mother. I can't lose my baby." "You won't. Not with the right help." "I'm scared." "That's okay. Being scared means you're smart, but you don't have to be scared alone." Simone wiped her eyes. "What do I do?" "First, you call Detective Mills, file a report, even if nothing happens right away. It starts a paper trail. Second, you accept the rent assistance and get a few months ahead so you're not financially dependent on him. Third, you let my crew keep watch. We're not going anywhere. And if Derek finds out, then we deal with it. Together." Simone stood there for a long moment, considering. Finally, she nodded. Okay, I'll call the detective tomorrow." "You're doing the right thing." "Am I? Because it feels like I'm about to blow up my entire life. Sometimes you have to demolish the old foundation to build something stronger." She almost smiled at that. "That's surprisingly poetic for a biker." "We contain multitudes." This time she did smile, small but real. Then she walked back to her building, her limp less pronounced somehow, like a weight had started to lift. The next 3 weeks were tense. Simone filed her report with Detective Mills. Derek sensed something was wrong. started showing up more often, more insistent. But every time he arrived, the midnight riders were visible. Not threatening, just present, watching. Derek was smart enough to recognize the message. He started staying away during the evenings when the bikes were there. But Sharon was building her case, connecting the dots between Derek's victims, gathering evidence. The break came unexpectedly. The woman from Atlanta, after months of silence, finally agreed to testify. With her statement, combined with Simone's report and the pattern Sharon had documented, they had enough for an arrest warrant. Derek Peterson was arrested at his office on a Thursday afternoon. Assault, stalking, financial coercion across state lines. The charges were serious, the evidence overwhelming. Simone called Marcus that evening. "Is it really over?" "The criminal case is just starting. But yeah, you're safe from him now." "I don't know how to thank you." "Don't thank me. You're the one who was brave enough to come forward." "I wasn't brave, I was terrified." "Those aren't mutually exclusive." A month later, Simone had her knee surgery. The clinic operated at cost, and the Midnight Riders fundraiser covered the rest. Marcus visited her in recovery, brought flowers and a stuffed unicorn for her daughter. "How you feeling?" he asked, "like I might be able to walk without pain for the first time in 2 years." She smiled, and this time it reached her eyes. "The doctor said I'll need physical therapy, but I'll heal completely." "That's good, really good." "Marcus," Simone said seriously, "why did you do all this? Really?" He thought about his answer carefully. "Because my mom used to limp too, from where my father would kick her. And one day, a group of people from our church, they surrounded our house, told my father he could leave or deal with all of them. He left. And my mom got to heal, got to be free. I was 10 years old, and I learned that day that good people showing up can change everything." Simone reached for his hand. "Your mom raised a good man." She tried, still trying, honestly. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Simone's daughter ran in, saw the unicorn, and squealed with delight. The sound was pure joy, untainted by fear. That sound, Marcus thought, made everything worth it. 3 months later, the Midnight Riders organized a community ride. 200 motorcycles from 6 different clubs, all raising money for domestic violence shelters and legal aid for abuse victims. Simone stood at the starting line with her daughter, watching the preparations. Her knee was healed, her limp gone. She'd started a new job at a law firm, working as a paralegal. Derek was awaiting trial, facing up to 15 years. Marcus walked over, helmet under his arm. "You doing okay?" "Better than okay," Simone said. "I'm actually happy. That might sound simple, but I forgot what happy felt like." "It doesn't sound simple at all." The little girl tugged Marcus's jacket. "Mr. Marcus, when I grow up, can I ride a motorcycle too?" He laughed. "Absolutely. But first you focus on school and listening to your mom, deal?" "Deal." As the riders mounted their bikes, Marcus looked around at his crew, at the other clubs who'd shown up, at Simone and her daughter standing safe and free. This was why they rode. Not for the thrill or the image, but for moments like this. For the chance to be the help that someone desperately needed. The engines roared to life, a symphony of chrome and purpose, and as they pulled out onto the highway, the afternoon sun painting everything gold, Marcus felt something he'd been chasing his whole life. Peace. Not the peace of silence, but the peace of knowing he'd made a difference, that he'd broken a cycle, that somewhere his mother was proud. And that was enough. The Midnight Riders proved that real strength isn't about violence or control. It's about showing up for people who need help. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe to Black Iron Tales. We share stories of courage, community, and second chances every week, because everyone deserves a story with a happy ending. Remember, you don't have to be a biker to be someone's hero. You just have to show up. The end.